Okay, today's engagement is part of our programming that transcends the shores of St. Lucia. We have reached a point we have funded projects since 2012 to now. We have a reservoir of research and information and data. We have one of our colleagues who have risen to the point of being a master beekeeper. And within the last 3 years, we have designed 2 projects of funding. One, what we call a South-South project that included Samoa in the Pacific and 6 Caribbean islands from Trinidad to St. Kitts. And now we are into a project where we are helping the OECS develop the OECS apiculture policy with a 3-year work plan. All of this has combined to bring together the multiplicity of ideas and data and information we gathered. And today is really the first time we are going sub-regional. That is one way of sharing knowledge, sharing data, sharing information, and beginning to build up our profile as well. We also thought that since we in St. Lucia, we've participated in the International Honey Show, and we came first and second in the international category. We want to bolster the OECS as well.
Here at the conference, at the OECS Honey Show conference, we are pleased to be here because of the exposure that it gives us and also insights. Thus far, this morning, a presentation was made with regards to the European markets and how to access the European market. For us in Antigua and Barbuda, that is very beneficial because our next step, in addition to having regional access or market access for our honey, we're going to look the way of exporting to the international market. So I must say, it has been a tremendous time being here, and thus far it has been very beneficial to me.
All the beekeepers from the OECS can come together, and we can come together and synchronize our mindset as true beekeepers, protect what we have in the garden. That's what I like to do.
I look forward to the balance of the week because I really learned a lot today. Because beekeeping is something I did for fun in the old days, and then realize the extent of where beekeeping could take you. So listening in this forum today and hearing all the presenters present, I see it as a big opportunity.
I'm here today. I really appreciate being here. It's been insightful so far. Forward to seeing the sites, being able to dialogue more and really soaking up some of the information that has been displayed from our regional colleagues.
I look forward to going to the different sites and visiting the apiaries, but most importantly, I am also taking part in the Honey Show, so I look forward to taking home a few trophies.
What most important is that to see all of you here. All of you have made the time out. So it's really good to have everybody here. Today's session was fantastic. I think a lot of information was shared. I think with all stars are starting to align for us as apiculturists. It's a special moment in time. I was telling you, it's a special moment in time. We really need to understand that what we have, I think it's 1% or 1.5% of the world's landmass, but we have 3% of the world's biodiversity in this very small space. And that gives us a unique opportunity to have the best honey in the world. We've proved it first at Trinidad winning. We've proved it again with Grenada winning. And we've proved it again with St. Lucia winning it. Yeah. So there must be something good in this region.
It's fantastic, and I've loved meeting you tonight and loved talking to you and feeling the energy and hearing the enthusiasm, and it's only day one. And I look forward to catching up with you later in the week when the show starts. So thank you very much, and cheers!
Jeg is the main man in charge here. So Jeg is gonna give you a little overview of what he does here and a little bit about what we do here. Alright, John is gonna deal with that. After that, we're gonna show you where the site where this is gonna be, and then we're gonna take a cool walk down to the apiary. I don't think we'll go in the bees as such today, but we'll definitely take a visual and you can get an opportunity to take some pictures and so forth. Alright. So without further ado, I hand you on to Mr. Vincent Clark.
Welcome to the Makote Mangrove, which is one of the biggest mangrove in the Eastern Caribbean, and it's also a Ramsar site. So under this working in here, we decided we should look for a strategic plan for what can we do here. That's why the beekeeping came. So the beekeeping came with strategic, one, pollinating the mangrove because we had a plants problem. So, and then you get the nectar. So it's a win-win. So the project ended up using that beekeeping for that hair, for the pollinated, and then the mangrove create livelihoods with the beekeeping and create a good honey for the product as well. So here, we used to do horseback riding out of livelihood created, but we stopped it for a while. So now we do chapel, beekeeping, hiking, educational tours about the environment, the national trust.
It's great. It's informative. I like the natural aspect today. Learn about bees, and I like the ecological aspect as well, and about the mangroves. So the collaboration of it is very useful.
What we're doing today is basically they're just observing what we're doing here. What we're doing here is basically we're doing breeding, queen breeding, and this is our queen breeding apiary. And they're just here to observe how we set out the hives, and they're here so that I could tell them a little bit of what exactly we're doing here.
Apiculture on the whole is one of the key. So if you look at apiculture, that is the first standard of our food chain, because all farms need pollinators. So without pollinators, you have no food. So with food security, what we have to do is look at what pollinators bring into the food chain for food security. So without pollinators, like beekeepers like us, with pollinators, to actually keep the bee system going, our food chain will be doomed, especially food crops and vegetables crops. So that is what the pollinators play a bigger role in the agriculture sector right now.
Good to be here in St. Lucia. So far we had a very good discussion on apiculture, advancing apiculture, and I'm really looking forward to the Honey Show this weekend, man. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for everybody. And of course, I want to thank the OECS for the opportunity that we have here right now. Blessings to all.
I believe that the activity itself is something that is very beneficial. It is something that will benefit the OECS if we take it serious. Throughout this past week, we've had a number of first-hand experience as well as classroom lessons that we have been through, which give us an opportunity to better understand and better appreciate the economic benefits that beekeeping will definitely have throughout the OECS. And I believe this is the way forward. We're looking at protecting biodiversity and ensuring that our environment remains safe for our future generations coming. So I believe that this workshop organized by the OECS is something that's very important. I believe we've benefited tremendously from it, and we expect to see key results coming from this week of activity funded and supported by the OECS.
today in particular, we are looking at the aspect of bee breeding, which each country will have to designate an apiary to specialize in breeding of bees. We were happy to have the Prime Minister of St. Lucia come and pay us a visit from his busy schedule. And we have technocrats, Richard Matthias and John as well, giving us demonstration on how the honey process in terms of production and queen rearing is being done. We also had a meeting a few days ago in terms of where we want to take apiculture and honey production in the region, and St. Lucia is being now the model for the OECS.
And we were just preparing the frame for the cells. That is what we'll be using to place in another hive, so that we can basically lay those eggs to make bees. So it's just a simple way of preparing frame, utilizing the natural wax to hold the cells on top of the frame.
I think the standout point that I am really blessed with today is to have the PM visiting us on this trip, making a special trip, a special stop over here with us on this training seminar, plus the hive the swarm that we caught today, and just everybody coming together. I think it's a very fantastic day, and we look forward for more trainings in this upcoming week.
I thought today's session was amazing. I think very often when it comes to beekeeping or anything that's practical, sometimes we tend to really focus on just the hands-on of it. But today's conference was a big eye-opener in that we got to look at policy. We got to actually be a part of the change that we need to see. We got to give very strategic kind of information to moving forward in the area of beekeeping and in this industry. And being able to do it in a collaborative way means that we're not only affecting ourselves nationally and as individuals, but we're actually going to see movement throughout the Caribbean.
I am happy to be a part of it and to have been here today. Today's discussion was very informative, especially for me and my country, because we're in such a beginning stage of beekeeping. The information learned from the larger countries like St. Lucia and Dominica and Antigua, who are much more advanced in beekeeping, was able to bring some light to us and for us to see possibilities of what can be done. I also like that we have this way of thinking forward in terms of collaboration, not for one country as standing by itself, but together as how we can go forward and again enact change and bring about have a big future in beekeeping, because it's very important. Bees, biodiversity.
St. Lucia has been very welcoming. It is an absolutely amazing country. I've had a great time so far. The persons are very informative. And I think that an opportunity like this is one that I hope will come around more, so not just for myself, but other persons within the Caribbean, etc. And hopefully there is more opportunity for collaboration and that type of unity that will help to develop our individual countries, but also the OECS as a region.
Honey Show. Actually, 3 years. 4 years ago, when it was conceived in my office with Richard, we had our doubts. We even had our critics at the time, but we decided to proceed. And the first has become the second, has become the third. And in the third year, we have the OECS joining us. 3 years, we are regional or sub-regional rather. And that is important. When we started, we didn't think we would have won an international show. In 2 years, rather, we went from an unknown pastries as a honey producer to #1 and 2 international honey producers at the British Honey Show.
This year's Honey Show is the culmination of a week of activities geared at ensuring that we can ensure a different narrative and legacy for our pollinators and the flora on which they depend by strengthening the network of apiculture experts and enthusiasts, providing opportunities for learning and knowledge exchange, and enhancing the capacity of beekeepers to continue their trade.
The Hewanorra Honey Show has evolved over the last 3 years as the premier event in St. Lucia to showcase the very innovative products and services that come from the apiculture industry. And this year is extremely special because not only do we have the beekeepers from St. Lucia, but we also have the beekeepers coming from across the Eastern Caribbean states. Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Dominica, British Virgin Islands, Montserrat, etc. And therefore it is now taking on a regional scope in terms of the honey show. I think it offers again a possibility for greater networking among our beekeepers so that they can share their expertise, they can share their knowledge, and therefore allow them to better be able to confront the challenges that the apiculture industry may face.
Apiculture industry in St. Lucia is growing quite well. What I've seen there is a movement away from just the primary production of honey to more into other products which are higher value products. So I really want to encourage the honey producers or persons who engage in honey production as well as general apiculture, because it is already showing the benefits to St. Lucia, and it can only get better.
What I've seen, the body creams, the body butters, the wax, the candles, and how they have used the products from the honey to do other things. I am hoping that with this exhibition, the industry can grow from strength to strength. As a Minister for Commerce, I'm particularly interested in this. I am aware that St. Lucia has won one of the international shows in the UK, so it is telling us that we have a good quality product.
I also like to call on your help. Help the ISC, help the ACBO to help you. We can do this together. All I ask is that your continued support. It's only possible to have events like this through your support, through your encouragement, through you guys say, man, Richard, let's do this. And I say, okay, let me try. Let me whisper in one or two people's ears. Let me go to the PS and see if he's in a good mood this year. And let me run to let's run to the OECS and say, well, how about, let's do it again, and let's do it again next year, 2024. All right, so it's only through your encouragement and your support that I can try to make these things to continue to happen. So it's a team effort, it's not just me, all of you are part of the effort that's happening today.
When this opportunity came, it aligned with quite a few of our objectives. One of the key ones being our support for livelihoods. We are now in the era of the Global Biodiversity Framework, which looks at policies for improving biodiversity, reducing biodiversity loss for the next 30 years. And so we are looking at the contribution of nature's contribution to people. And of course, that means livelihoods. So when we talk about apiculture, we talk about a very viable avenue for people to grow their industries, their livelihoods, to be able to use nature to see development in their lives and in their communities. So OECS was very interested in supporting this activity, both for the livelihoods aspects as well as for the environmental aspects. The hosting of this third Hewanorra Honey Show has been an amazing experience, and I just want to say a big thank you to all of our funders, the European Union and all of our collaborators, Jeff Small Grants, the Association of Caribbean Beekeepers Organizations, the FAO, ICA, CYEN, and all of the other teams that have come together to make this event a success.
At this end of the table, because we're going to try and sort out all of the coloured honeys. So these are just individual classes, so they're just getting moved down the table. So we're not doing anything, we're not judging yet, we're just moving product about. It's quite watery, very thin, so we've tested the water content and it is over the limits of what it should be for honey.
there's no dirt. And how well it's been finished from the mould.
So when we're looking at candles, we're not only looking at the quality of the wax and the quality of the moulding, but we're also looking at the wick. And sometimes the wick has to be a certain size, otherwise the candle just won't burn. So this one, for example, is far too small for the candle size. So it needs to be much, much thicker. Otherwise, all we'll do is we'll just get a little puddle of wax in the middle and nothing, it just won't burn, it'll put itself out. And the other thing that's important with candles is that the wick should have had some wax on it, and that makes it much easier to light. So these, for example, have got wax on them, these, but this one hasn't. So this will be very difficult for anybody who buys it to light it. So it just, again, put itself out. And when we're looking, some of the moulds are much more complicated than others. So these are very delicate, as are those, and these are actually quite hard to get out of the mould because of the delicate nature of the moulding that's there. So these are much simpler and plain ones than these. So when we're judging, we would look at the complexity of the moulding as well as the other factors of the clarity of the wax and the right sized wick.
The other thing is we're looking for it to be clean, so we shouldn't have any foreign particles in there. That's just laying on the surface. Some of these are.
Let them burn for a while, just to make sure that they burn well. Sometimes when you get a candle it's not moulded well, there might be little air gaps in them, and as it burns, the wick goes, it sort of spits at you, and you don't really want a candle that's going to be spitting wax at you when you've got it on the table.
No imperfections. This is a much better example. There's very few pieces here. It's a lot cleaner. This again, you see we've got another one that's got little bits and pieces in it. You can see them in there. A little bit down the bottom. Again, you can see the pieces in there, the dirt inside the wax.
So while Bill is doing that, I'm weighing them because they've got to be a minimum of 1 pound weight. So I'm just going through and weighing them as we're going along.
So this person's decided to try and scrape out the dirt. You can see the mark, but you've got to filter it properly in the first place so that no pieces are left behind. Here we have a piece that has been well filtered and is clean the whole way through, and that's the sort of quality that we're looking for. We also want to have no indentations on it, and there's a little tiny speck there, so that's pretty good so far.
But a honey lemon soda is a fairly straightforward thing to make. There's not a lot of complexity to it. So one thing that we look at is the complexity of manufacturing something. And so I'm also looking to see what the ingredients are. So I'm looking at the texture of it and sort of to see how suitable it is. So a body butter I would expect it to be nice and soft and rub in well. So. It's very nice. It doesn't feel sticky. Sometimes when you have a body butter or cream like that, you know, your skin feels quite sticky at the end, and that doesn't. So that's quite nice.
We could try. Montserrat, you in the house? Yeah! We have St. Kitts, we have Dominica. Who else we have in the house? Wow. In addition to the entire OECS region in attendance, we also have the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. Good morning, ladies. So it's lovely to see all the regional entities as well as our brothers and sisters in the region here today for this very sweet occasion.
Yes. So yes, right now, Bill and Sue, they're actually judging right now. They're looking at the cakes right now. So Ronisha, let's go see what's happening with Bill and Sue.
So we're judging here class 17, which is the fixed recipe. And we have a judging sheet, a marking sheet for doing this. And there are four main categories we look at. One is the overall appearance. Is it burnt? Does it look undercooked? Then the next thing we will do is we'll cut them and look at the texture of the cake to make sure it's cooked through. We'll smell the aroma. We're looking for the honey aroma to come through. And the last thing we do is we taste it. So let's go. So our marking sheets for the appearance is out of 10. So we'll cut them and we can hold the microphone, thank you. So we cut right through. This one's really quite thin. Normally when you have a fixed recipe for a cake, you would specify the size of tin as well. So let's have a look at this. We'll cut it in half. The texture, say, it's quite thin, but it is cooked through, but not very evenly. It's been in a sloping oven, because we've got a very thin bit at one end and a thicker bit at the other. So I'm going to smell it. It smells of lemon. I'm not sure lemon was in the recipe, but we'll do that. Oh, it was, that's good. And then we're going to taste it. And I give Bill half of it, because Bill likes tasting the cakes. Okay, so that's the process. So we're going to go through all of the cakes like that, so I don't think you want to hear me talking through all of them.
this is the first OECS Honey Show in St. Lucia, right? That's right, with all the OECS countries. But it's a further annual Hewanorra Honey Show.
As far as the show goes, it's really helping me to step up my standards as far as what I bring to the public, how I approach actually doing what I'm doing. For instance, you know, how to eliminate your bubbles in your honey and all of these sort of things. So right now, for the whole week, I've just taken this as a means of learning. So next year I can come harder and stronger for the competition.
We got to actually be a part of the change that we need to see. We got to give very strategic kind of information to moving forward in the area of beekeeping and in this industry. And being able to do it in a collaborative way means that we're not only affecting ourselves nationally and as individuals, but we're actually going to see movement throughout the Caribbean.
I also like that we have this way of thinking forward in terms of collaboration, not for one country as standing by itself, but together as how we can go forward and again enact change and bring about, have a big future in beekeeping because it's very important, bees, biodiversity.
It's good because you end up meeting with different beekeepers, especially as they have the OECS countries join us as well too. So they're teaching us like different little techniques that we can go ahead and use. I say next year as when the season open up, then again I can use the knowledge that the OECS countries gave me, so I can take that knowledge and put it into good consideration.
It gives us a chance to see what the other countries are doing in terms of honey production and also the value-added products, which has become now a staple of every beekeeping operation throughout the OECS.
It has give me more exposure to apiculture and a broader outlook and outline on apiculture and a whole in the whole Caribbean.
The networking possibilities here in terms of unity, in terms of the development of the apiculture sector throughout the OECS is very important to us from the Ministry of Agriculture in Antigua and Barbuda. Forming common linkages, because honey or apiculture is not only about the honey produced, but also the problems we face in terms of the apiculture sector.
What strategy are you coming with again this year?
A big part of that show also allowed for the exchange by the OECS countries on how to build capacity within your apiculture sector, which is a critical point. The show also allowed a showcasing of the honey and honey products that are available in the OECS countries. By identifying the products and what's available allows us to then identify the opportunities where we can improve the quality, address value addition. There are a couple areas that do need what I would say public-private sector interventions to continue and create that sustainable support. Things like testing of honey, regular testing, so that the quality consistency is confirmed, but also in doing market entry and market approaches, having that public-private sector partnership within the apiculture sector, I believe so far is one of those other necessary points for improving not just the access to markets, but sustaining that access to markets by the beekeepers, because they're generally small. But in order to grow, they need that support, and then having both government and the private sector working together for this subsector would result and can be projected to result in a more sustainable apiculture sector in the OECS.
I'd like to thank the organizers for their wonderful work, right? And of course at the end presenting us with the trophies for best in show, most points.
Preparing for that initially is just a bit of hard work, and you have to start throughout the season. As soon as the season starts, you have to start gathering your stuff throughout the season so that you're going to enter with the best quality that I can say.
So I really enjoyed coming to the Honey Show and winning a number of awards. We put in a lot of hard work, late nights, and just happy it paid off.
We spoke a lot about what's happening in the individual islands with regards to apiculture and the forward movements that we have to make to safeguard our future. And the reason why it's important that we all came together is that we could all refine our quality, so that you understand what it takes. So if all of us are growing together and making our quality better together, when we put our collective product together and we sell it, we're not gonna say, oh boy, that man's moisture content was off and it made all of us look bad. Or this girl's moisture content was off and it made all of us look. All of us have a good idea of what you need to produce and the quality what we expect.
Thank you.